So yeah, I mean, obviously they're going to have a budget, right? And I think one of the things that I learned from working with organizations is that a lot of times the CEO either has an operations background, I'm sure you guys deal with this all the time, or a technical background, and they can't necessarily get really clear about their message. And so I would say that, is the most strategic value that we can offer kind of moving through this transition, is really getting smart about our messaging. If you're not good at that, then you shouldn't be in PR and marketing, right? I mean, I saw a headline for a press release last week that I still can't get over. I just can't even believe it. Can't even believe that it got out the door. And they spent $40,000 a month with this agency. Couldn't believe it. I wanted to cry. So,
what was the headline?
What was it?
Best French Twitter client.
They changed it, so I can tell you. SQL Switch Technology advances relational database architecture.
That's a $350,000 sale.
Unbelievable. So,
Good margins.
yeah, it brought tears to my eyes. 'Cause I mean, it's really.
What did they switch it to?
I don't know. I know what my headline was in my blog, but I won't say it because you know who the company is. but yeah, so I think that's where we can be really, really strategic and smart. Is that? And I've been thinking a lot about this. I think our role needs to be this. I was talking to Loic the other day, and he's like, we can't keep up with the traffic, right, at the end of the long tail. There's so much that we need to manage now. Where do we spend the time? How do we not know that? I mean, here's a really interesting example of why we need to care about nearly every audience. I was talking to a stealth company at Always On. It's a for those of you not in the tech industry, it's a conference out in Palo Alto. Stealth company in the video space, and they happened to be sitting there talking to a woman about this, not thinking she was influential or a journalist, and it turns out she's a mommy blogger with maybe 100 followers. But one of those 100 followers was Kara Swisher of the Wall Street Journal. And they're in stealth mode, and they're not ready, and within 24 hours, they get a call from Kara Swisher saying, we would like to use this. So, you just...
So that's good.
Yes. Not if the product's not ready. Right? Not if the product's not
No,
ready.
it depends. You can build it. It means there's attention. Just
Not
build
if,
it.
not if Kara Swisher is your first review. But, bottom line is you never know at that long tail. And so I think that's the struggle that we're facing, certainly dealing with our clients, is that the budgets are going down. You guys are probably seeing, I don't know if you guys saw this article, but it's worth bringing up. It was this week in The Guardian, right here. Unilever goes crowdsourcing. Did you guys see this? They fired their ad agency of 16 years. And they're offering $10,000, there we go, $10,000 in a competition to find ideas for its next TV campaign for snack food.
But they shouldn't even do a TV. Whatever.
Well, but it's, it's mainstream, it's the UK, so it's Europe. So because it's Europe, TV is still important, and it's a consumer brand. So can you imagine what they were paying in advertising? $10,000 is probably a very little amount of money. So, I think those are the things
I
that
don't know,
we
my
really
kids,
thinking
even
about.
if it's consumer, my kids are on Facebook. We have not quoted Facebook yet. We can talk about Facebook now. But the kids, they're not on Twitter, by the way, right? Which is very interesting. But
We
they're
just
not.
have one conversation.
I don't know about your kids, but they don't watch TV.
We watch River Monsters. We watch Man vs. Wild or whatever, Survivor Man, 24. All the educational programs. SpongeBob. We watch hours of SpongeBob. Steve, any thoughts on agency? How to use agencies? The right role of agency? Should you do it yourself?
Well, dovetailing off the comment about transparency, one thing that we believe at LinkedIn is that social media will make every company far more transparent because all of your employees will have social profiles. We hope they're all on LinkedIn, but we know that some of them will be on Facebook and Twitter. Everyone in your company will be far more accessible now by all of your customers. And in the past, you could control the access the customers have, right? They would be they would reach out to your salespeople or your customer service reps or maybe your directors of communication. Now they can find your engineers, they can find your finance people, they can find your product managers. And for some companies, that's that is very scary. Not only because now I have to realize how do we train all these people to understand how to talk to customers, but now all of my people are very recruitable. But the reality is it's inevitable. All of your people will be findable. And some companies will see that as an opportunity. But I believe they will still need an agency to help them understand what is a very dynamic and changing landscape. Most of these marketers do not have the bandwidth themselves to understand all the opportunities, to understand how to best leverage the opportunities. They know their own business very, very well. They know what they do well. They know their own products. They don't know what their competitors are doing as well as agencies do. They don't know what media companies are bringing to the table. So, I think agencies will always play a very, very important role in advertising. And yes, many of the agency companies are seeing some tough times right now, but that's not because advertisers are bringing their business in-house. Almost all the Fortune 500 still use an agency, and they have been for quite some time, and they probably will for quite some time. So I think statements of agencies' death are a bit
Okay, Louis, agencies.
I think you absolutely need additional help, especially when you're at a small company that can't scale, or you're at a big company that needs to learn, right? Some of the enterprise companies I've worked with have a real hard time breaking out of what is that old way, which is why I started talking about the old way of advertising. And so what you need to do possibly is bring in new blood, whether that is from a consulting type of opportunity or whether it's through an agency, someone who knows how to kind of turn that ship and teach them how to do it. One of the things that I've been doing is trying to teach product marketing people how to listen and then how to broadcast, and then what is it that's important, how do you find out somebody has influence, and then how do you respond quickly. One thing that I'm sure that Loic and his team are excellent at is responding very fast. Does it take one day to respond to somebody? Maybe that's taken too long. And most of the time, the companies I've worked with, if they get back to it after the weekend, it's okay. And so I need to teach them to work faster and not worry about getting it just a little bit wrong. And so you need to have somebody who's pushing them until they learn, and then maybe they can back off.
Loic, agency?
The last time I had a PR agency was 2 years ago. I set up here in Silicon Valley from Europe, and I really thought I needed help because I knew nobody, and so which was the case. And I got the PR agency, and they explained me I had to give exclusives and embargoes, and we had to protect this and that, and we made a great press release that I validated, and it ended up in Valleywag in 2 minutes because one of the recipients of that beautiful press release, of course, forwarded it directly to Valleywag, and what I ended up having was all the real writers, the real journalists, and the good bloggers laugh at us, like how cool, you fall into that trap. Welcome to Silicon Valley. So I thought the 10K a month we were paying to the agency wasn't that a good investment, and we stopped. And what I started doing was, getting all the relationships back myself if I could, and it took me some time, but now I think I know. And I have trust relationships with a few bloggers or writers who trust that I won't spam them with stuff that is relevant for them, and it's much more important. So now, having said that, that's my experience. I think I agree with Louis, but I won't repeat what he just said, that many brands, including us, budget depending, need help. But what I would stress, and that there are fantastic PR professionals, I think it's almost to a point, though, that we should change that name because it got so negative but anyway, what I would stress is it should be long term. I said that a lot of times, but I think building trusted agents, community, people around you that defend you and help you as a brand doesn't come in 3 months. And that's the problem generally. So I think it's long term. I would love to work with an agency if I had the budget for 1 year, to help minimum.
Okay.